What's up, boys? Data 782 here with episode 3 of the Buffalo Sabres Franchise Mode here on NHL-20, finishing off year number 1, the 2019-20 season. After 62 games, we find ourselves up at the trade deadline. We have a good record of 34, 22, and 6, which, if you look at the standings here on the right, is good enough for second in the Atlantic, and I wouldn't say comfortably in the playoffs, because both wildcard spots are 1 point behind us, and 3 people below us all have 73 points. So the playoffs are definitely not a guarantee at this point, but the team is playing well. Jack Eichel is putting the team on his shoulders as we would expect him to. We're having great seasons from guys like Wayne Simmons, etc. But in the last episode, we had to figure out what are we going to do at the offseason, if anything, for this team in the short and long term. Any moves that we should make, and I just got to say that of all the franchise mode videos that I've ever uploaded, that was the most suggestions and most feedback I've ever received, most comments probably as well relating to the episode. So thank you so much for not only watching but taking the time to give me insightful comments. I replied to I think each one of them in the comments, and I won't be able to reply to every single one of them in the episode. So what I did do was that I created a watch list, and we're going to go through one by one the comments and see everyone that see all the players that were suggested and weigh the possibility of trading for them. So before I get into the comments, what I want to say is that there were a lot of suggested players. You can scroll down 2 lists, and a lot of these people could work down the road, but as of right now, with the trade value that we do have, it would be tough to get anyone on this first page. Definitely not Teravainen or D'Angelo, Sanheim, Yamamoto, I don't think. I think I'd be willing to trade Tage Thompson, but even then I wouldn't be able to trade him straight up for a guy like Bratt or Johansson. So I think I'm going to have to scroll past this first page, unfortunately, and for the actual possibility of trading for someone, it would be on this second page. But I'll still weigh the possibility of this first page as well. So let's get right into the comments. One of them that gave a lot of names from I'm Vix, he said, here are some young studs that I like to get and look for. First off, there's Hayden Fleury. He is low elite, 80 overall, 23 years old. That's possible. Kevin Fiala, who, if you look at him, he has a bit more trade value at 83. I don't think he'd be possible. Then I'll just read through the rest. Andreas Janssen, who is on the block. Ty Smith, Jesper Bratt, Dmytro Timashov, Toivo Teravainen on a great contract, Denis Gurianov, Rupe Hintz, Travis Sanheim, Dylan Gambrell, Anthony D'Angelo. Really looking forward for yet again a new awesome series, so thank you so much. And P.S. don't forget, if you don't get Kyle Wood at the deadline, I am unsubscribing. So Kyle Wood, I really want to pick him up. If you watch the Honolulu Huskies franchise mode, you know that Kyle Wood is the glue that builds a Stanley Cup together. This guy's a monster, and I'll talk more about him later. But some of those suggestions, Timashov, Janssen, I could see it. Fleury, Gambrell, Gurianov, maybe that's pushing it a bit for the trade value. Jesper Bratt, I would love to get Jesper Bratt, a playmaker who really grows well, but unfortunately I don't think I have that trade value right now. Ty Smith as well, a great defenseman. I don't think I have that trade value. Kevin Fiala, I definitely don't have that trade value. Rupe Hintz, I don't think either. And then definitely not D'Angelo or Teravainen, who are great players, but just literally there's no one on our team that has trade value. Like if I wanted to get Teravainen, I would have to trade Dylan Cousins, and that's not what I want to do right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and just I can't take them off the watch list from this screen, but I think I'm gonna just take off those 2 in my mind at the top. Next comment coming from Hunter Hintz. He says you should look into Alex Kerfoot for a second-line playmaking center. He doesn't have much trade value, and I've had him grow to the high 80s. So Alex Kerfoot, medium top 6 potential, 81 overall, 25 years old. The problem with him is that I don't know if I want to pay 4 years at 3.2 for a guy. If he grew to second-line center, then that would be great, $3 million at 4 years. But with Marcus Johansson there and Casey Middlestat growing quickly, I don't think Kerfoot would be in the second-line position for more than just next season. I think he'd quickly move to a third-line center role. And with the depth that I do have with Girgensons and everything, I don't really think that that's a necessary move. I know Alex Kerfoot is great. 25 points in 63 games, pretty passable. He's a good centerman with 82 face-offs, but I think as of right now, Kerfoot wouldn't make as much sense. Not really because of the contract. That's just a little bit of an addition in the point that I'm making, but more with the center depth that I do have. When it comes to long-term pieces moving forward, I'd rather get wingers. A guy like Joe Thornton would be a short-term fix, but a long-term fix, I don't think I really need centers because Middlestat and Cousins are there, as well as Girgensons, as whoever else we get throughout the franchise mode. Reese Garut says you should try and get Yamamoto as a second, third liner if trading for him makes sense. I love Yamamoto. We had him in Honolulu. He always grows to high 80s. He's a really good playmaker. He would fit in our top 6 forward lines, which is nice to see. But again, the trade value is just a bit too high. He's playing okay. Well, not that great. Well, he's okay. 37 in 62 games, but we know that he grows. We don't want him for now. We want him for the future. So Yamamoto would be a nice addition, but again, trade value is pushing it. I'd have to give Tage Thompson, and I don't even have second round picks this year or next year. So I'd have to give maybe just a first round pick straight up would work, but I don't know. If we don't make the playoffs, that first round pick is fairly valuable. You can get a guy like, I don't know, Connor Zary or Seth Jarvis or Antonio Stranges. I'd rather get someone like that. But I don't know. Yamamoto's quite good. We'll keep that in mind. Yamamoto would be nice. I wouldn't take him totally off the trade list. But like we said, he's at the higher end of the trade value, which is pretty difficult. MVL12K7 says, push for the cup, trade Jesse Puljujarvi, get Josh Hosang, get Jumbo Joe, keep Simmons, trade Ristolainen, try and get Lucas Johansson from the Caps. Keep it up, Mr. GM. Thank you so much. I don't know if Lucas Johansson could work at that trade value, especially if I wanted to also get Josh Hosang and Joe Thornton. Ristolainen, I like Ristolainen. Like I said in my intro episode, I know that the current management in Buffalo wants to move him, but I really like Ristolainen, and I think at least now, especially when there's no one that could really take his spot in the top pair, I'd like to keep him for this season, and it wouldn't really make sense to move him either in a season where we're doing pretty well. But so if I wouldn't get Lucas Johansson, Josh Hosang is definitely someone that I'm interested by. 24 years old, 80 overall, medium top 6. I've seen him grow very well in many franchise modes. He last year of his deal, we don't have any pro scout assessment on him because he's been in the minors this whole year. He has 45 points in 54 games with the Islanders farm team. So that's very interesting. Joe Thornton, there was another comment on Joe Thornton in a two-parter from Joel Litjukes. So I was talking about trading Puljujarvi for Hosang. He said, don't trade Jesse Puljujarvi. Think about it. A 21-year-old who's 78 overall, has just put up 30 points in his first career season in the league while also missing games to injury. You're giving up on him way too quickly in my opinion. The problem was he was listed as a depth forward and you played him on the second line right away. It's true, I got tempted by his second line chemistry. You rushed him, play him in the minors or fourth line for now, let him grow. Once he does, he has perfect chemistry for the second line in the future. And that's true, he has check marks on the entire second line fit, so that would be very beneficial down the road. Then in part 2 of his comment, he says, I also wouldn't trade for Thornton. It makes no sense. He's not your long-term option at the second line, so why get him now? Unless you play him on the wing, but then who does he replace? Skinner and Simmons have been incredible. Johansson is playing great as a second line center. Which upgrades you really need is a rental second and third line winger, someone to fill Puljujarvi's spot for now. Let Puljujarvi grow. You gave up an arm and a leg to get him. I did. It was a second round pick and more. I'd look for veterans on 2-3 year deals that can fill that role until guys like Puljujarvi and Middlestat are ready to play in the big leagues. Good luck. Loving the series so far. Thank you very much, Joel. Now, I wouldn't get Joe Thornton to replace Marcus Johansson at second line center. It would just be to push Johansson to the left wing on the second line. So if I put Thornton on the second line center, and he fits the top 6, it says, I move Johansson to the left side, or actually to the right side, I keep Skinner on the left side, and then Wayne Simmons moves down to the third line, and he plays with Gergensons and Puljujarvi. I don't think that would be the worst thing. So it does make, the comment definitely makes sense. Don't get Thornton if you're going to just push Johansson out of the spot. But I wouldn't be pushing him out of the spot. I would just be moving him to the wing because he's not really a centerman. He has 70 faceoffs, and his faceoff stats haven't been good this season either. They're somewhere around 45%, I think. Finishing up the comments here, Zerzara says, go for Michael Hutchinson, the only goalie that was suggested. He's the best backup in the game and will not demand money, something like a $1 million contract. Look into Timo Meier even as a power forward. I forgot to watch list him. And put him in the power play with Skinner on the left, Eichel center, Dallin defense, and he gives some suggestions on that. Then you change Skinner for Raymond when you draft him. Haha, Lucas Raymond. He's a big fan, Zerzara, of Lucas Raymond. I never like EA's two-way D on Dallin for me. He's more of an offensive offensive defenseman, at least when he played for the Frölunda Indians. He is a technical defender and did circus acts in the offensive zone, so I would change him to that. That's true. Dahlin is a 40, 50 plus point kind of defenseman. For Michael Hutchinson, he's playing very well with the Colorado Eagles right now. He has a record of 16, 9-2 with 4 shutouts. So if I could get him instead of Carter Hutton, that wouldn't be a bad deal. He's making a lot less and he's younger at the same overall as Carter Hutton. So if I could pick up Michael Hutchinson as a little deadline pickup, I think that I would try and do that if possible. I forgot to look at Timo Meier as well, so let me go and quickly look at him. But unfortunately, I think his trade value will be too much no matter how desperate. Yeah, he would probably be just under Teravainen's trade value, even though he's a great power forward. Oh, he doesn't even fit the lines either. So Timo Meier wouldn't be the greatest fit, but many other people on the watch list are. Last comment coming from Jeremy C. He says, I would trade Montour as part of a package deal for a top 5 pick so you can avoid offering him the $4 million plus extensions that he wants. I would trade Brendan Montour if he was a UFA, I think, with wanting that much money. But he is an RFA, so I'll just qualify him and then I'll get him for cheaper later on. So I don't really need to worry too much about him. The guy that I'm really worrying about is Sam Reinhart, because he does not want the extension, and that's going to be pretty costly because at least when it comes to Brendan Montour, he does want the extension, so we could get him at 85%. He wants 4.6. Nah, he's not going to be wanting that much later on. So Sam Reinhart is the one where I'm kind of worried about for now. Whoa, 2 years, 13? Yeah, this is crazy. What are you talking about? 8 years, 16 million? That's some crazy glitch. That is some wild, crazy glitch. You want multiple years at 15? Yeah. That's one of the craziest glitches I've ever seen, actually. He's not even playing super well. Like, you know what? He is playing very well. But it's not like 67 points in 60 games is not $16 million. 120 points in 60 games is $16 million in the year 2020. So anyways, with all those comments taken into consideration, thank you for all the other comments as well, giving suggestions on go for forwards, don't do this, do that, keep Middlestat, keep Cousins, all the different advice that you've been giving me. I think it was well over 20 comments in this last one, so really appreciate it. I go through each one. I made a whole Word doc on my phone as I was weighing all the different possibilities and taking notes last night. So I'm excited to see what will work. Now we got to move into the trade proposals, but we got to figure out what kind of guys are we looking for. Right away, there's a few people that I got to tick off the list I don't think are going to work. Andreas Janssen, 81 overall, 25 years old. I like this guy very much. However, 4 years at 3.1 for a guy who would be a top 9 forward, and he only fits the first line. Line fit very important here. I don't think it would work out for that kind of money, even though the value is cheap. Josh Hosang I like. Timashov I like very much. Wood I like. Hosang, yeah. Thornton is a possibility. Kerfoot, I don't think so. Fleury is a maybe. I like Fleury. He would fit all penalty kill lines. Good two-way D. 6'3", big boy. Just that the value's a bit too much for right now. I don't know. Maybe I can try and trade for his rights at the draft. I'm gonna keep most of these guys watch listed. Just that I would get like 6 of these guys right now. I got to figure out what moves do I make for right now. Dylan Gambrell. It says he fits all forwards lines, which would be great. He's a good 4th line centerman. I would like to get Dylan Gambrell. I know he simulates quite well. Doesn't have much going in his career thus far. 2 goals in 12 games this season. So Gambrell is another maybe. Gurianov would be great. He's like a Puljujarvi kind of guy. Sniper. He has 4-star shooting, though, which is very nice. And he fits on the second line. So he is almost exactly like Puljujarvi. 22 years old, 80 overall. And that low elite potential. So trading Puljujarvi for Gurianov would probably work. Just, I don't know if, like the comment from Joel said, I don't know if I want to give up on Puljujarvi so quickly after I gave up a lot for him. Lucas Johansson, I don't think so at the moment. Jesper Bratt, I would love to, but now we're getting into the higher trade value. Even if I gave them Tage Thompson, I don't like to trade picks from more than 2 years away because I find that a bit cheap. Fiala, hence now we're getting a bit too far. Yeah. So I think for the moment I'm really going to be looking at Wood, Timashov, Hosang, Thornton, and then like quickly look at Fleury, Gambrell, and Gurianov, what they would want for them. I'm going to go to the trade finder and see what kind of deals they'd be asking for. So you see, this trade would probably go through. Puljujarvi is 1 overall less and a year younger, and his stats are a bit less this year than Gurianov's, but just because it would work doesn't mean that we should do it. I know that his shooting's a bit better, and he does, I've seen him go up to 84, even 87 overall, but Puljujarvi could be a monster as well, and he's the one that we chose to believe in last step. So there are some players I'd like to move. I'd love to get Gurianov, but if it meant giving up Puljujarvi, I don't think I would do it. So if I went to find trade, I wonder what they would ask for. So if I go to find trade here, they want Marcus Johansson, Victor Olofsson, no chance, Brendan Montour, or Tage Thompson. So I could trade Tage Thompson straight up for Denis Gurianov. That wouldn't be bad. But I don't know. Keep that in mind. Denis Gurianov straight up for Tage Thompson would work. For Yamamoto, there are no trades found. For Josh Hosang, also no trades found, but they would definitely take Tage Thompson for him. For Dylan Gambrell, they would take a first, a fourth, and this random guy. I wouldn't give up a first for Gambrell. Or they'd take Tage Thompson, a fourth, and a sixth. Yeah, no chance I'd be doing that for a 23-year-old, 78 overall. For Joe Thornton, though, I wonder what they would want for him, because he's also on their trade block. They would take Allmark, Larson, and a fourth, or a second, a fourth, and Scott Wilson. I do have my second in 2021, that's true. I forgot. I thought I had no seconds the next 2 years, so I could trade that second-round pick, but I really would prefer not to. Second to fourth and Scott Wilson for Joe Thornton would not be a bad deal. Do I really need him, though? The team's playing well. I'd rather get a piece that's going to help us a bit more long-term than just... I don't know. I like Joe Thornton. Jumbo Joe. I love him, but I don't think so. Hayden Fleury, what would the Hurricanes want from me for him? A first, a fourth, and Sabatka. Puljujarvi, a fourth and a sixth, or Tage Thompson and 2 sevenths. Pretty much, I could trade Tage Thompson for one of those guys. I could get Hosang, Gurianov, or Hayden Fleury. Timashov and Wood are a bit less in the trade value, so I could probably pick them up for something else. So what I'm going to try and do is make trades for Timashov and Wood, both from the Detroit Red Wings, and then I'm going to see where I'm standing, and we'll go from there. But I'd like to pick up Timashov and Wood, 2 good players. They will go in Rochester. I'm trying to get Timashov on the top line to give him some good chemistry. He fits all our forward lines, so he could be great down the road with us. Good playmaker. Let me see what I can do. Boy, this is not going to be easy. I don't have a lot of picks at all. Already, we didn't have a lot of picks to start with, and I traded some more to get Puljujarvi. If I give them 2 guys on... This is the only guy who has a bit of value, Laxinen. This is another guy just for contract spots. These are 2 unsigned prospects and a 7th-round pick. The value is in our favor by like just a hair, but I have no reason to believe that they would do this deal. What you're offering isn't very interesting. It doesn't meet our block needs all that well, and the value isn't there whatsoever. I could make it a 4th and a 7th. Really just giving up on this year's draft. To be honest, this of all the drafts that you will see in the entire franchise mode, the first year draft is the worst when it comes to picks from like the 3rd round and on, just because it's all real players and they'll have random top 9, low top 9, bottom 6 potential. There won't really be any gems except for in created locations like Russia or USA, East, Central, and West. Could I give 4th and 7th? They're still not interested by that. Like I said earlier, I don't like trading picks beyond 2 years because I find it a bit cheap. But I suppose 3 years isn't crazy to say, like, here's a pick in 2022 and the year is 2020, 3 drafts away. Teams do that. I think if it was 4 years or more, that would really be pushing it. But 3 years wouldn't be the worst thing. So I don't think I'd be breaking my code of conduct to say that here's a 3rd round pick to go with it. Let me see if I can give them a 3rd in these random pieces. They're still not very interested. I understand why. If they don't take a 3rd and a 4th, I think I'll have to move on from this deal. They're still not interested, yeah. So Kyle Wood, I know that he won't really grow, to be honest, so I could always pick him up another day. He isn't super necessary right now, but Timashov is the guy who I know is going to grow more, so I think I'm more interested in getting him. So if I took out this piece here, the value is way too much in my favor, I think. Could I trade these 2 pieces and a 4th for Timashov? No. Try it with the 3rd instead. They're still not interested with the 4th either. So yikes, Timashov may not work just because we don't have anybody of interest. So you know what? I'll have to come back to this deal later. Maybe I'll pick up some pieces in the other deals, but I'd like for the moment to go and try for Joshua Hosang, who is the guy that I've really been thinking about since the beginning of this series. I know that him and Gurianov are pretty similar. They're the same overall, and Hosang is 2 years younger. But I don't know. Hosang, we know that he fits. Actually, we don't know anything that he fits. Guryanov's the one who we know fits the 2nd line. It's tough. Both on expiring deals. Gurianov is 2 years younger. Hosang, though, man, I've seen him grow very well, but Gurianov has as well. Do I go for Gurianov or Hosang? Hosang has the 4-star puck skills, the 87 passing, the 3.5-star shooting. Gurianov has the 4-star shooting, 84-90. And 3.5-star puck skills with 84 passing. Maybe the future is Gurianov on the second line with Middlestat at center and Puljujärvi on the other side. It could get a +5. A sniper with 2 playmakers, 2 of them who fit the line most, at least a +3. The big problem is that I don't know if Josh Ho-Sang fits the lineup, and that's a risk that I don't know if I can take, because I can't even assign a scout to him, because he only just joined the NHL now. I could try to do a quick scout report. I have like 1 day until the trade deadline, so I'll assign my scout to him, and I'll simulate 1 day, and I'll see if that helps me at all. Alright, so we simulated a day. Let's see if that gave me any information. I don't even know if the Islanders played a game. They have a lot of people on the block here, by the way. Letty, Bailey, Nelson, Eberle, Lee, all these guys on the block making a ton of money. Josh Ho-Sang, come on, scout. What do you got for me? Nothing. Yikes, that is a tough break. I just got to look at it objectively. I can't look at names. I got to look at overall and stats. This guy, Gurianov, is 2 years younger, same overall. He's in the NHL right now putting up numbers. It makes more sense if I'm going to make a trade to go get Denis Gurianov from the Dallas Stars. Tage Thompson, he's 2 years older and 2 overall less. I could trade for him straight up. Maybe I could get a little bit back. If I could get some picks next season, that would be great. Maybe like a 3rd and a 4th. You know, let's get greedy at the start. Always start off greedy, and then you work down. So we'll try a 3rd, a 4th, and a 5th. Tage Thompson to the Dallas Stars for Gurianov. Too far off. Take out the 4th. Try the 3rd and the 5th. Too far off. Just the 3rd. Still too far off. So then you work your way down. Can I have a 4th, a 5th, and a 6th? Isn't sufficient at all. Yeah, okay, but how about when I try the 5th and a 6th? Sweeten it just a touch. So let's try just the 5th, and I guess that makes sense. Next season, I only have any picks after the 1st and 2nd round until the 6th, so a 5th wouldn't be bad. This year I only have the 1st, 4th, and 2 7ths, so let's do it, boys. Tage Thompson, he's been playing very well in Rochester, but we have to look at the numbers. He's 22-78, and although he does have the 49 points in 55 games, which is amazing, I have to think about just objective numbers. This guy is 22 years old, they're the same age, and he is 80 overall. Did I say he was 2 years older? I think I did, but what I meant to say was just he's 2 overall less than Gurianov. So can we get a 5th round pick and Denis Gurianov from the Dallas Stars for Tage Thompson? Yes, we can. So thank you very much, Dallas, for your business. Tage Thompson, I would have liked to keep you, but Gurianov, we know that he can become a monster, and I just haven't seen you grow enough in simulations to convince me. So let me just quickly fix up the lines, and then we're gonna try to see what Timashov would cost, since now that we know our resources. See, with Timashov, I may have been going around it the wrong way, just trying to give them prospects. What if I give you an actual roster player in Michael Frolik, who you want, and I probably won't be re-signing anyways. He's a good two-way forward, but as a 4th liner, he's not as integral of a piece as anybody else. Only 5 goals, 8 assists, -14. -14? Oh, 14 penalty minutes, -5 through 62 games this season, so he wouldn't be missed very much if I were to move him. For Timashov, I don't think they would do this. Actually, I know that they wouldn't straight up, but I could try and throw in something with Frolik instead of just trying to give them pure picks. So actually, even if I throw in Hunwick, maybe I could try and get Kyle Wood along with him, because he would be replacing some roster pieces. McQuaid could be called up as my new depth, and then Hunwick could be moved to the Red Wings. So Frolik and Hunwick for Timashov and Wood, and then we add what we had before, which hopefully pushes the value a little bit. I was throwing in Laxon, but I think that would push them over the skaters. Yeah, so I can't give them Laxon, and I have to give them unsigned rookies. So I'd give them this guy, 19 years old, 58 overall, medium top 9, and then I guess I could throw in this defenseman, AHL top 2, and this wouldn't go through, but with the pick, I don't know if I want to give them, I could give them a 3rd in 2 years. 2022 3rd round pick. This is a pretty solid deal, I think. I think this is a fair deal for them. Yeah, happy to accept. Thank you very much, Detroit. Maybe I could have given them the 4th, but I think it's fair to give them the 3rd round pick. 2 young pieces for a guy like Frolik who can help them try and make a playoff push. Meanwhile, I didn't really need Frolik because I can just keep Jimmy Vesey on my 4th line instead of making Jimmy Vesey a healthy scratch. So with those changes, let's make some roster moves and check out the lines for the final 20 games of the year. All right, and here are the lines for the moment for the last 20 games of the season. Wayne Simmonds will stay on the second line since he's been playing so well. I'm going to put Gurianov on the third line so I don't rush him too much. He can get a +1 with Girgensons and Dominic Cahoon, playmaker, two-way, and sniper. He fits the second and the third line pretty well. Second line most. If I were to put Gurianov on the second line with Skinner and a better second line center, that would definitely have a +3 with the sniper, and playmaker. So anyways, I think I'll try Gurianov on the third for now. Fourth line, Timashov, I want to send him down, but he doesn't. He would have to go through waivers, which was a bit surprising because he had a two-way deal, so I won't be able to do that. But he does fit the fourth line and all of our lines rather well, which is great to see. I can play him anywhere on this team if he begins to grow. He'll play on the fourth line with Sabatka and Okposo for the moment. I thought that Jimmy Vesey would go here, but I guess he won't. Defense stays the same. Scratches are Vesey, like I said. Kyle Wood, I can't send him down either. It won't let me because of waivers, so he is also he is our depth now. Instead of Matt Hunwick, it'll be Kyle Wood, and you love to hear that. Puljujarvi's injured for the moment, but when he comes back, I think Sabatka will move to a healthy scratch. And Timashov, can he play center? Actually, no, he can't. But Okposo will move to the center when that happens. So Kyle Wood, he was just the glue that won 4 Stanley Cups for us with the Honolulu Huskies. He came to us. He played like 3 games a season, but in the playoffs, he would play 20 games. He'd somehow score like 10 points, which is more than he had in his entire career. He had 4 Stanley Cup rings. We built a statue of him in front of the arena, and we are very, very happy to have him here in Buffalo. So in the AHL, things will stay the same since no one's being moved around. I could hold on. I got to give Casey Middlestat that +3, so we'll do that. And okay, I think we're good in Rochester, and that's how we'll move forward. The last thing was looking to get Michael Hutchinson as our new backup. I don't know if they would want to go for that. He is on their block. He is a good backup goalie, 29 years old. I would prefer him to Carter Hutton, even though Hutton has been playing pretty well. 6 wins, 5 losses though, 6-5-1. Pretty good numbers, to be honest, but making 2.7, and next year he will be like AHL, like high 70s. So if I could trade Hutton for Hutchinson, that would be great. They wouldn't do that straight up, but if I could just throw in something really cheap, maybe the 7th round pick that we've been talking about, Hutton and a 7th, still trade rejected. Yeah, I don't think they want to take on that money. You want Kukkonen here, medium top 6 defensive prospect? That's a pretty good trade. I give you Hutton and I throw in a little prospect. Yeah, there you go. Absolute no-brainer for us here in Colorado. Thank you very much. Pretty much I just dumped that contract of Carter Hutton. That'll help us for cap space next season, and Michael Hutchinson can be our backup for the rest of this year. Going with Zirzara's comment, hopefully he was right, and hopefully he plays well if he is called upon, if and when he is called upon for Linus Ullmark. So let's get back to the contract screen now that all that is figured out. The great thing to see is that we have $6.9 million in cap space at the moment, and for next season we'll have about $21 million of extension dollars. So does Reinhart still want $13 million? Yeah, so that'll have to go down for sure. Wayne Simmonds, I think he's earned himself a contract. Oh, we want $5 million. He wanted $2 million last episode. How about Gurianov? What does he want? $3 million. Yeah, these are crazy numbers. 8 years, $6 million. So we'll wait on all of those extensions, no question. But with all that finally taken care of, we can continue to simulate here in the second half of the season with the final 20 games. That was a long beginning to the episode, but thankfully, since there's only 20 games to go, that is not an issue. We'll finish off this season, look at all the stats, and hopefully get ready for a playoff run if we can make our way in. So playing up against the Colorado Avalanche, who are 27, and 7. A win would be very, very beneficial to our cause since it's very tight in our division. Ristolainen right away. First period, 1-0 from Big Risto. Second period, 2-0 from Rasmus Dahlin. Perfect. The 2 top pair defensemen get our 2 goals. The Frölunda Indian, 2-0 for the Sabres. Power play for the Avalanche that we kill off. 3-0 thanks to Sam Reinhart, the $16 million man. He wants to be the $16 million man. A power play goal right in front of the net. And it looks like we'll take it, boys. 3-0 with 5 minutes to go. Out shooting by, we're doubling the Avalanche's shots, 42-21, and a shutout victory for Linus Ullmark and the Buffalo Sabres as Ristolainen and Dahlin score the goals. 22 saves from Linus. Big win. That's what we like to see with the small changes that we have made to this team. So there are definitely some big divisional rival games coming up, considering our spot in the Atlantic. The Lightning, the Panthers, the Leafs, the Red Wings. So those would be good games to go see. Let's go see the Florida Panthers right here. They're 34-22-7 at the moment. We'll sim through a couple of weeks. But we do have some more time in this episode than usual to watch a few more games. So let's simulate about a week and a half, and we'll go see the Philadelphia Flyers. We beat Vegas 5-3. We lost to the Coyotes 3-2. Then we had another 3-2 loss against the Winnipeg Jets, and a tough 6-5 loss against the Penguins. So let's get back in the winning column here, boys. We're in a wild card spot at the moment, and the wild card spots are pretty tight in both Eastern Conference divisions. So the Flyers are 33-29 and something. We need this win. First period, 2-0 Flyers, Giroux and Konechny. Second period, 3-2. Okay, Skinner and Simmons get us back in it. Giroux scores again, but we are back in it. 3-2 Flyers here in the third period, but Sean Couturier starts to pull away. It's a 2-goal lead for the Flyers. We're out shooting them 33-24, but Carter Hart is standing tall. James Van Riemsdyk. Power play for us. Last chance to get back into it. No. That's going to be all she wrote in this one. But Brandon Montour, hold on. Hold your tongue. 3 goals on 41 shots we've scored. Brandon Montour brought us back within 2, but it won't be enough as we will fall 5-3 to the Philadelphia Flyers. That was a tough loss. We've now lost 4 in a row. After the trade deadline, we won back-to-back, but then lost 4 in a row. So we need to get back in the winning column. We have games against the Capitals, Canadiens, Bruins, then 2 in a row against the Hurricanes. So let's go see number 1 of those 2 games against the Hurricanes after 3 more simulated games. 4-3 win against the Caps, exactly what we needed to see. 3-2 overtime win against the Canadiens, then a 4-3 shootout loss. So 2-0-1 in those last 3 games. Up against the Hurricanes now, who are 38-25-7, a very similar record to ours. They just have 1 less loss than us. Let's go. First period, 1-1 game, Warren Foegele and Rasmus Dahlin. Second period, 3-3. Sami Vatanen and Sebastian Aho. Michael Hutchinson is in nets. Was he always in nets? Yeah, he was. And then Wayne Simmons and Dominic Cahoon tie this game back up. We're being outshot 27-20, but the game is tied at 3. This is going to be a tight playoff push, boys. There we go. Dominic Cahoon on the power play, his second of the night. He ties up the game, then he puts us ahead, but then Svechnikov ties it at 4, but then Jeff Skinner against his old team. Jeff Skinner makes it 5-4 on Peter Marachik. We have less than 30 shots. We're very lucky, and Jack Eichel, that may just be enough to push us over the edge. 6-4 now as our captain gives us the 2-goal lead, and that'll be all she wrote. A 6-4 victory, exactly what the doctor ordered. 2 goals from Dominic Cahoon, who was the hero tonight. Beautifully done. 6-4 win. Let's simulate the next game, and then we'll go see the Panthers, who are right ahead of us in the division. Puljujarvi has returned to the lineup, so that means we're going to have to make some roster moves here. He's not back to playing yet, but he is healthy enough. So that means we're going to send down, probably Sabatka is going to get sent down, because VC, but VC I don't want to send him down. Sabatka, I'll send him down because no one's going to take that contract, so I'm not worried about that. Let me just see if he made it through, and he definitely did. Yeah, make that 3.5 million. No one wants to touch that. So for the moment, that means Jimmy Vesey draws back into the lineup. Kyle Okposo moves to center, and Jimmy Vesey, he'll be on the right side. I wanted to send Puljujarvi down to the minors, but he also had to go through waivers, so he's going to be staying on the team as well, even though I don't want to give him second line time. He is fully healed and ready to go for the game against the Panthers. That's what we like to see. Jimmy Vesey, sorry, Bello, you're back out. On the fourth line, it does give it a +3 with the playmaker, power forward, sniper. So you know what? I was going to put Puljujarvi. I wanted to put him on the third line before we got Gurianov, who's now up to an 81. But I think Puljujarvi on the fourth line is best. +3, playing like an 82. We want to make him grow. I was willing to trade him, but the comments swayed me, and he has stayed on this team. Come on, Jesse, we want to see some magic. So the healthy scratches for the rest of this season are Wood and VC, and then Johnson is our third goaltender. We drop the 4-3 overtime game to the Hurricanes. We are 39-26-8 in the Atlantic Division. If it could pop up on the side here, I believe the Panthers are just 1 game ahead of us. They're actually 3 points ahead of us with 89 points, 40 wins. So we really need to win this game to come within a point of them. This is possibly the biggest game of the second half of the season. Puljujärvi's back in the lineup. We're firing on all cylinders. Let's do it, boys. First period, 2-1. Jeff Skinner and Denis Gurianov. Colton Sevier scores on Allmark. We're up 2-1, doubling the shots. Second period, that's what we like to see. We do concede twice to Noel Acciari and Evgeny Dadonov, but Dahlin and Kyle Okposo down on that fourth line. We are tied. We're not tied. We're tied in shots, 23-23, but we're holding a 1-goal lead, and Sam Reinhart makes it 5-3 for the Sabres now, boys. 2-goal lead. Can we hang on tight? Oh, goodness. Victor Olofsson makes it 3. That may just be enough to call it. Victor Olofsson, but Aaron Ekblad, power play goal. They're back within 2. Power play again now for the Panthers. We kill it off. Very well done. But then Wallmark, what? With under 5 minutes to go. The 1-goal lead with just a minute left. Can we hang on? And yes, we do. The game winner goes to Victor Olofsson from no angle in the corner. Look at that shot. 6-5 victory over the Florida Panthers. Probably our biggest win of the season. Goal and 2 assists for Reinhart. Biggest in terms of our need to win it. Huge victory, as that is 40 wins on the season now for us, and we can continue to simulate a little bit more. Let's go see who else is in our division that we want to see. Senators and Red Wings are right behind us, so are the Maple Leafs and the Canadiens. Now the Canadiens are too far away. 88 points though. I think we're far enough from the Senators in our own division. It's probably the other Eastern Conference division that frightens me. Yeah, the Capitals are probably within striking range. So are the Rangers. So you know what? Let's go see the Rangers. A big 5-2 win against the Chicago Blackhawks puts us up to 90 points now. 90 points is enough to clear us of the Panthers. Senators they're there, and so are the Red Wings. Maple Leafs, I don't know. Canadiens, they're out. Capitals, Rangers. It's a tight Eastern Conference, man, with 7 games to go. Let's see what we can do up against the 37, 30, and 7 New York Rangers. First period, 0-0. Second period, 2-0. Jack Eichel and Rasmus Ristolainen on the king. Poor Henrik, man. Our state rivals here. Jeff Skinner on the power play makes it 3-0. Oh boy, the Rangers don't have anything going for them yet, so that may just be it. They look flat. 25 shots, all stopped by Linus Ullmark, I would assume. Another power play goal as Victor Olofsson adds to it. Let's just end it right there. Heidel ended the shutout of Michael Hutchinson. Dahlin added an empty netter, and it's a 5-1 victory for your Buffalo Sabres. 4 assists for Sam Reinhart. He really wants that $16 million. And Michael Hutchinson, gotta say, fantastic performance from him. Jack Eichel crosses 100 points with 101 now, and I think we are good to go in terms of rivals. Islanders, we'll see the game against the Islanders. They're at 86 points. We're at 92 points. We're in a wild card spot. We're 42, 27, and 8. Let's see what we can do here at the Barclays Center. First period, 1-1 game. Eberle and Marcus Johansson on the power play. Second period, 2-1 Buffalo. Wayne Simmons. Was Puljujärvi on the power play? I forget if I need to put him back there. I'll check that out after this one. But we hold a 1-goal lead. Shots are tied at 25 here in New York. Under 10 minutes to go. 2-1 Buffalo. Nothing happening here in the third period. It's a stalemate. Under 5 to go now. Will the 2-1 scoreline be enough to call it? And it will be, as Victor Olofsson adds the empty netter, and we take this one 3-1 the final. Another great game from the Sabres, and that clinches us into the Stanley Cup playoffs, boys. 94 points in 78 games. That is enough to get us in, which is fantastic to say. With 4 games to go, we can take a bit of a sigh of relief. Right, so Gurianov is actually on the power play because I had Puljujärvi there, but I think Gurianov is the right person to keep instead. Because either way it gets a +3, so it's not a huge deal. I could move Cahoon off of it, but he fits. There's no need to force it. Puljujärvi's playing well down on the bottom line. I'm excited to check out his stats at the end of the season. Now that we're making the playoffs, we can simulate to our final game, which will be up against the Philadelphia Flyers in a week's time. 6-1 win against the Wild, 3-2 overtime win against the Capitals, beautiful. And then against the Devils, we beat them 2-1. So we could possibly win our division here if we beat the Flyers and then the Panthers lose their game. We will win the Atlantic Division. That would be surprising, from wild card brink to division champions. First period, 1-0. Wayne Simmons against his old team. Second period, 1-1 game as Justin Braun ties it up. Power play early to start the period. Nothing comes from it. 27-22 the shots at the moment. Power play for the Flyers, but it's a long one. Extended power play and the penalty kill. The Sabres, hey, they as I'm praising the penalty kill, Konechny scores on the power play 2 seconds later. Let me pause this game for just a quick moment. Scored at 9-11 here. So yeah, that was right after. So they killed off the boarding and the delay of game back to back, but then right as Simmons got a delay of game penalty right after we finished killing off the penalties. That was 3 straight back-to-back penalties. Konechny capitalized on that, and that may be enough to sink our hopes of division championship, boys. And it is, as we drop this game 2-1 the final on a power play goal from Travis Konechny. Not enough to win the division. Brian Elliott makes 40 saves in the last game of his career, maybe, before he gets thrown to the dogs. And Derek Pouliot gets a concussion in Rochester to end off the year. So even if we had won that game, we wouldn't have won the division, as the Boston Bruins ended up taking it, as you could see in the bottom right corner for a quick second. But with the entire season complete now, I believe all teams have played their 82 games. Yeah, we can check out the stats. What a year for Jack Eichel. Made some good moves at the trade deadline, and let's see which ones paid off. Buffalo Sabres in their first year under our management, with the Pagulas gone, Jason Botterill out. We make the playoffs. Dallas Stars won the President's Trophy. We ended up having the 6th best record in the NHL, going 46-28-8, like I said. In the Atlantic Division, it was a very strong division, as the top 3 teams in that division held 3 of the top 6 spots in the NHL. So pretty crazy to think about that. Power play at 20.8%, pretty solid power play, I'd say, was 4th best in the NHL, and a penalty kill percentage of 80.5% was closer to the bottom, I'd say, yeah, as it was 8th worst in the NHL, actually. So the penalty kill definitely could have been better. That's something that we could improve upon moving forward, but a good power play. The Flames 9% in the power play, my goodness. Now time to check out the points. Jack Eichel put up 103 points in 82 games. A beautiful season from him. Career highs in goals, assists, and points. You absolutely love to see that. Our captain getting it done at the age of 23. Sam Reinhart on his line. 95 points in 80 games, putting up 77 assists. He's going to want to get paid pretty well, but I'm not going to be paying him that $16 million. Jeff Skinner, we have raised him from the dead this last season. He scored 78 points in 82 games. You can't see his stats from last season, but as I mentioned last episode, in the 1920 actual season, he was garbage. So 42 goals for him is a career high in goals. 78 points is a career high in points. Wonderful to see him blossoming, and with that contract, he better be, because we'll have him for a while. Marcus Johansson, the 83 overall, who we decided to play on that second line center, he was never too great at the faceoffs, but a 66-point season. Crazy to see that. Setting a new career high for himself that he previously set in 2016-17 with the Washington Capitals. He hit 400 points on the year, 21 goals and 45 assists. What a great season from our second liner, making only $4.5 million. Wayne Simmons, who more than half the NHL gave up on, actually everyone in the NHL gave up on Wayne Simmons, but here we are. We picked him up, well, we as in Jason Botterill, but now I'm just reaping the benefits. I played him well, and I'll take all the success. 23 goals, 39 assists, and 62 points, a career high in points, and I believe a career high in goals, ties his career high in goals. A career high in points for him. It's just great to see at the age of 31, and 81 overall as well. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Victor Olofsson up on that top line, 83 overall, gets 60 points, 32 goals. Dominic Cahoon, 45 points at 80 overall, was really nice to see as well. Dahlin and Ristolainen both scored 38 points apiece, but Ristolainen did so in 15 less games, as he played only 67, but both defensemen played very well for the top pair. Dahlin up to an 86 overall, Ristolainen at an 86 as well. Denis Gurianov up to an 81. What did he do on the third line with us? Very nice. 7 goals, 4 assists, 11 points in 20 games. For a third liner at a trade deadline pickup, a point every second game, a little bit more even, that's what we like to see. A nice 35-point season for the rookie, and we're looking forward to more from Gurianov. Big Z Zemgus Girgensson, I love this man, and he put up a solid third-line center season. Highest of his career with 34 points. This guy's played 500 NHL games. What? 34 points from him. Big Zemgus, you love to see that. Montour 31, not bad. Montour 31 is good. Timashov 29, fourth line left wing. 6 points in 20 games for a third liner who is playing like 8 minutes a night. I will take that. And a playmaker who gets 6 assists, very nice. Jesse Puljujarvi, when we last saw him, he had 8 goals and 13 assists in 61 games. So in 9 games, he got 3 assists as a fourth liner. You know what? That's not bad. His plus minus stayed the same as well. I think it was already a negative 16. Puljujarvi, he's going to grow. He's going to do well over the offseason. He's going to get jacked in Finland with Kotkaniemi playing tennis. I have high hopes for Puljujarvi, and for a fourth line where he got 3 assists. Timashov got 6 assists. I'm sure Okposo benefited from that, scoring 20 points in 82 games as a fourth liner. I will take that. Colin Miller was a plus 24 with 19 points. I almost traded him before the season started, so I'm glad I didn't. He played well. McCabe, Jokiharju all did well. Jimmy Vesey, nothing through 3 games. I gotta say, Linus Ullmark was a very serviceable starter, going 37, 24, and 6 over 69 games played, with 5 shutouts, a 906 save percentage, and a 2.75 goals against. Gotta give it to him. Michael Hutchinson appeared in 6 games since we picked him up at the trade deadline, and he went 2-1-1 with a 910 save percentage and a 2.82 goals against average. Chad Johnson as our third goalie did pretty well as well, with a 2.28 goals against average in the 3 appearances that he had, 48 shots against. Looking at the entire NHL in the goalie situation, I don't think we even come close. Linus Ullmark, he's down here, 37 wins, but Tuukka Rask with 41 wins, tied with Ben Bishop. Best goalie in the NHL, probably Connor Hellebuyck or Sergei Bobrovsky. Actually, Jordan Binnington, 2.50 goals against and a 917 save percentage. So Binnington, Bobrovsky, and Hellebuyck, the top 3 goalies in the NHL this season, I would say. For all NHL scoring, it was Tyler Seguin with 115 points and 64 goals leading the way. McDavid, Draisaitl right there, and Jack Eichel tied for 3rd in NHL scoring with his 103, which tied him with Leon Draisaitl. Looking at NHL goal scorers, Seguin was followed by Ovechkin, Kucherov, Draisaitl, McDavid, Marchand, and then Jack Eichel, followed by Jeff Skinner at 43 and 42 respectively. Sam Reinhart even up here with 95, so we had a good tandem on that first line. No big surprises. All the NHL big boys are up here. Sometimes later in the sim, you get random players who got put on top lines who somehow score a ton of points. Eric Howle's a bit of a surprise. Yeah, 82 overall, scoring 74 points. That's definitely a surprise. Thornton had a great season. 83 games he played. He ended up going to the Vancouver Canucks and had a good end of the season with them over there. Rookie skaters for the Calder Trophy, probably going to go to Jack Hughes or Cale Makar. Cale Makar, I usually see him explode later on, but in his rookie season doesn't always do anything too wild. But 61 points from him. Jack Hughes, Cale Makar, Dominic Kubalik, 55, and then Quinn Hughes with 52 points as well. Capo Caco, 49. A good year for rookies, but definitely Hughes and Makar with 61 points apiece. Any other stats that we're interested in here? Most hits in the NHL goes to Wayne Simmons. Nice. The Wayne train leads the NHL in hits, throwing around the body. You love to see that. And last but not least, we got to see Rochester and their stats. Let's see what Casey Middlestat did. 58 points in 73 games. He grew to an 80 overall. You love to see that. Derek Pouliot scored 56 points in 73 games. Stayed at 77. Big Matt Molson, beautiful. Jean-Sebastien Dea, etc., etc. And in his first season starting with the Rochester Americans, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen went 28, 17, and 6 with 3 shutouts, a 909 save percentage, 2.37 goals against. Very respectable. Up at a 74 overall. So great things from him. Maybe he can grow to be our backup next season. I think he'll just continue to be our starter though, but definitely down the road looking like something special as we've seen in other sims. I like to see the Texas Stars actually. How did what's his name, Tage Thompson do once we traded him over to Dallas? Did he play in the NHL? It seems like it. I don't see him on the Texas Stars. Tage Thompson, he did. He played 20 games and he scored 8 points. I gotta give it to him. That's pretty crazy. 8 points in 20 games for a rookie season. He's going to be a good player, no doubt. But Gurianov, I'm really liking him as well. But it was tough to part ways with Tage Thompson. And then over on Detroit, Frolik and Matt Hunwick, I don't know if they did anything special. Frolik scored 7 points in 18 games, almost as much, more than half than what he scored in 62 games with us. And Matt Hunwick in 20 games put up 2 assists and a -1. He did pretty well with us, actually, just filling in as depth. 2 assists in 14 games, -7 though. 34 years old, making over $2 million, not interested. And if you're curious about junior stats, Dylan Cousins is currently still at a 76 overall. He has not grown, and he has scored 51 points in 53 games down in the WHL. Listed as a 4th line forward, he'll probably make the NHL next season, but hoping for more growth from him, and we'll check back in on him and all of our other junior stats at the end of the playoff run. Let's see if contract demands changed as well. I hope Sam Reinhart's demands have gone down from $16 million. What is happening? $15 million. I'm not even worried. I'm just going to qualify him. If someone wants to give me $15 million and 4 first-round draft picks for Sam Reinhart, that's awesome. But there's no way he's getting paid that money. I'm just going to qualify him and see him in free agency. Brendan Montour, he wants still around that same type of dollar amount of 4.7 or whatever. If I were to give him something like $5 million, if I were to give him something like 5 years at 5.9, that would end up being 5.015. So I get him for 5 years at $5 million pretty much, which is a bit expensive for a guy who's an 82 overall, a bit too rich for my blood, but we'll see what happens with the RFA situation. Again, if someone wants to give him a qualifying offer and give me a first and a third round pick or something to pay him $6 million, I'm happy to do that. Dennis Gurianov, he wants something like 3.29. If I go less, he wants more. This will keep him as an RFA actually. 3 years at 2.975 isn't bad. Closer to 2.550 for 3 years. Dennis Gurianov at 2.55 million. That's not a bad deal, because if you go to 4 or 5, he wants somewhere in the 5 million. That's pushing it a bit for someone who hasn't really proven himself. So I won't do it yet because I'll wait to see what everybody says, but 3 years at 2.525 or even 550, that's a pretty fair contract for Gurianov. Wayne Simmons, he wants way too much. That's another weird number. I'd probably let him go to free agency and try to pick him up there. I don't know what glitch is going on that they want so much money. Dominic Cahoon, he wants, see, that doesn't make sense. He wants $4 million. Casey Middlestat, why would Casey Middlestat? The guy's never played a game in the NHL. He's not getting paid $6 million. So you know what? I'll stop even looking. Actually, I want to see Pugliarvi. $2 million is not bad, but I'll stop even looking because these numbers are just totally unrealistic and won't be the ones we're dealing with. But with all that taken care of, we can finally see who our first round matchup is going to be in our first season here. We will be taking on the Florida Panthers, a team that we were jostling with for position. So they finished just above us with in the wins, in the regulation plus overtime wins, as we had one more loss and they had an overtime loss. But let's check out their lines. We know that Jonathan Huberdeau had a 66-point season, I think. We know that they have Alexander Barkov. We know that they have Aaron Ekblad. So Huberdeau, Barkov, and Hoffman, their top line, of course. Dadonov, Haula, and Brett Connolly on the second line. Vetrano, Achari, and Sevier, and then Brian Boyle, Henrik Borgstrom, and Lucas Wallmark. On defense, Yandel and Ekblad, a great first pair. Matheson and Strawman, very strong as well. And then Josh Brown with Mackenzie Weegar, not as strong, but a very well-rounded team. Between the pipes, of course, Sergei Bobrovsky, with Chris Dreiger backing him up. Scratched, no one's special, really. So they're going to be a tough team. They have great scores. Huberdeau had a good season. Haula, Barkov, Bobrovsky all had great seasons. So it's going to be tough to take on Florida, but we are ready for the challenge. Our lines are looking like this moving into our first offseason. If you have any suggestions on any offseason moves or any playoff line changes, should we change up anything of the special teams, change up anything of the... Oh my goodness, that's why the penalty kill is so bad. Why is Timashov over here? Was it because Michael Frolik was here? That's why the penalty kill was so bad, giving it a -2. He was playing like a 76. That's my bad. I didn't know he was going to be there. If I put Sam Reinhart, does he fit the line? Still gives it a -2. What? No one fits over here? Wayne Simmons, does he fit? Nobody fits. We have no forwards who fit the penalty kill. And Dominic Cahoon, yes. So it could be Dominic Cahoon or Jesse Pugliarvi. Those are my two options. Do I have any defensemen that fit the penalty kill? No one. No one fits the penalty kill. Man, I guess I'll keep the -1. I guess Cahoon's better than Timashov. Still not ideal. Only 79 shot blocking. No, I wouldn't want to do that. If I'm going to take the negative, I might as well put a good player who's there. But if you have any suggestions on penalty kill, please let me know those suggestions, because I don't know what to do. The line fit is such a mess. Sam Reinhart, 80 and 88. Jeff Skinner, 77 and 85. I need to find someone who has good shot blocking. Johansson, 82, 87. I guess it's going to be Marcus Johansson on that first power play unit. Gives it a -2, but I'd rather have Johansson getting a -2, I guess. But this is really weird. So please let me know your thoughts on penalty kill, because that is very confusing. My coaching staff, is it just because of my head coach? His penalty kill rating is A. Then I have A+ with this guy, C- with this guy, and B with that guy. So it's a bit confusing. But either way, that is the rest of the regular season here in our first year at the helm with the Buffalo Sabres. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for interacting. Looking forward to hearing your suggestions and your excitement heading into our first postseason run. Could it be something special? I think so. But the Florida Panthers are going to be a tough matchup. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Just put out my Alexis Lafreniere career sim the other day, which was really fun. If you enjoyed that career sim, please let me know other ones you'd like to see. I would love to do more career simulations, as well as hop on board. Check out the Anaheim Ducks franchise mode, the Honolulu Huskies franchise mode. You could binge a bunch of those in a few days, as well as putting out FIFA 20 content and my walkthrough of SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. So once again, thank you so much for watching, and looking forward to the playoffs in the next one.